Interestingly, wealth tech, it's kind of a crowded space, and but you guys are doing something super interesting. Maybe to kick off, tell us about where Farther sits today in the context of its, I guess, three primary go-to-markets.
So fundamentally, we provide technology to financial advisors, many of whom are employed by us or otherwise affiliated with us, and their clients. And the goal of all of that technology is to help advisors do their jobs a little bit more efficiently, to show up a little bit more wholly to their clients, and to offer a very broad solution to their clients. And from a client perspective, they get the benefit of all of that, and some unique things that come with being on the Farther platform. And that's the idea there is that we saw originally that there was a lot of frustration amongst the advisor community in all of the aspects of their job that they have to do that is not directly adding value to client relationships. Things like operations and administrative work and trading and rebalancing and managing teams and tech stacks and building, performing all the roles of being a business owner that again, are maybe not the highest and best use of their time. And we thought that we could pull all of that work in, deliver deliver that for them, deliver a great client experience as part of it, and make the economics work. It's pretty important too. Then we have we had a really nice value prop that stood out from what other companies were making available, and that was our wedge into the market. And for the most part, we grow by recruiting advisors to the team. They bring their client relationships with them and join Farther in hopes that they can grow a little bit faster, deliver a little bit more, and provide that better experience that they're really seeking.
And when your market is on the higher end, from what I've gathered, is that by that nature, are there more types of assets that you have to think through, if they have more alternative asset exposure? And it sounds like your platform is comprehensive enough that it can handle all of these various asset types.
No, you nailed it. There are some different challenges that are important for an ultra high net worth family that are maybe not there for somebody who's more on the affluent side. But they're exactly what you said. Can we handle all of the alternative assets and both the direct investments as well as any fund relationships through asset managers that we work with, whether that's private equity, private credit, whatever it happens to be. Can we handle all of the other SMA providers, so separately managed account providers that a family might be working with? So we've together on both of those ends, we spent a lot of time building relationships with asset managers and developing a nice process for if there is a net new relationship, what is that? How do we contract with them, and how do we smooth out that process really quickly? We handle all of that ahead of when an advisor joins the platform. And so, from a client perspective, it's pretty smooth, even if the preceding couple of weeks are negotiations with the asset manager or whatever it happens to be.
I guess heading into one aspect, private markets has become very top of mind for everyone, given that there's, it seems that the number of public companies has, somewhat plateaued, and a lot of the growth in the broader capital markets is happening in the private markets, in particular private credit. Have you seen kind of more inquiry among your clients or prospective clients of maybe how they can tap more into technology to facilitate either their activity or monitoring or reporting within the private markets?
Sure. I would say it's not only that the public market, sheer number of companies investable there is plateaued, it's actually declined quite a lot. And so the net effect of that is if you want exposure to the broader economy, then you probably do want exposure to, private markets, and you can access that, and from a private equity perspective, private credit, infrastructure, real estate, you name it. Like all of those are important, especially the larger portfolios that can handle less liquid assets. So, but the perennial challenge with all of that is like, how do you actually bring all of these assets into one reporting environment where you can see everything all in one place, and presumably kind of update that on a regular basis so that you have a pretty good sense of where you happen to be every time you get one of those quarterly reports, or an updated 409A if it's a private investment or something like that. So we started with that premise that we needed to be able to handle the vast array of private market activity that goes on, report out on it, again, all in one place, all where it just kind of comes together and works. And I would extend that even further. Wealth is more than, it's about more than just the asset management component. It's very important to see the asset side of the balance sheet. It's also important to understand what the liability side of the balance sheet is, and have access to all of the lending solutions that you might need. If you need to finance an aircraft, like you should be able to do that. If you want a jumbo mortgage, we should be able to do that. Over our history, we've built quite a lot of both technology to visualize all that and make sure that we can see it all in one place. But also a lot of partnerships that allow us access to those types of products that extend beyond just the asset management, investment management relationship. And then even further, there's also the other side where there's lots of documents that end up being important. So being able to pull all of that information together, whether that's trust and estate planning, or something like an insurance policy, or even tax returns and things like that. If we can pull all of those in one place and have that one common repository for everything that you might need to touch on in your personal financial life, like that's just a better experience. And so that's what we've focused on from the very beginning, and what we want to deliver to clients.
Curious if you actually do provide access to private equity opportunities, and in what form do you provide access to investments in private equity firms, or direct? Do you have any provide access to direct investing in private companies? Like, to what extent is there access?
The answer is yes on all of those fronts. So the way that we do that is there's kind of like three tiers of it. Tier one would be, we have access to lots of platforms that are there to make opportunities in the largest managers available to financial advisors and their clients. So that's we have access to just about every one of those that you could name. Then second step is we also develop our own direct relationships with managers, and that might mean very established managers who have been around, that everybody knows their name. It also means that we seek out opportunities to provide access to emerging managers that might be unique. Or to give an example, we recently hosted Commonweal, and they're a early stage, top decile seed stage manager who is just they're raising their second fund. We had a unique access point to that, and we offer that to all of the clients on our platform and the advisors to them. That's something a little bit unique that we can bring to the table that maybe other firms can't. And then the last bit would be direct investments into some of the private companies that you might want access to. And with that, so a lot of different ways that you can tackle that, but we do make that available as well.
Do you kind of qualify the companies that you would provide access to? Meaning, like, there's a rating system internally that you're like, okay, we can only provide this set of companies because we vetted them to a certain degree. Obviously, you can't always fully vet, but so that your, I guess, financial advisor knows, like, okay, these are okay for us to actually, like, seriously consider for our clients.
Absolutely. We don't want to just make anything available. And I think it's it's one of those points of tension where, the goal is to provide access to quite an array of of opportunities. And but the flip side of that is, we care very deeply about our reputation, the trust that we have built with clients and the advisor team. So we have our own set of researchers who are looking at those companies, evaluating those opportunities when they come up. We look at we have our own set of metrics, and we also look at who else has vetted those companies as well as part of that process. And the combination, I think, is reasonably robust.
Now you have a co-founder at Farther, and you seem to have a very good dynamic, and you guys have done a great job building the company to date. Um, how do you think you were able to kind of really cultivate a good partnership? And then also talk a little bit about culture.
So funny enough, like Brad's background is so wildly different from mine. So I think you kind of heard some of mine. His is West Point guy, goes to drive tanks around in Iraq for a couple years, comes back to the States. We crossed paths at business school. And while I got my MBA and had a really good time, he also got his master's in engineering at MIT at the same time. And what do you do with all that? Well, you go become a wealth manager, I guess. So he has this really, wide-ranging experience as a background, and we saw opportunities to take some of the things that he had been working on kind of for his own wealth management business at Goldman, and ultimately like carrying some of that forward to technology he was building for other advisors there. We saw some opportunity to take the ideas behind that growth-oriented approach and pair them with the efficiency-related ideas that I was tackling. And when we began talking, we just noticed that we saw the world the same way. We saw a lot of opportunity. We saw, we were frustrated at the same things. And we thought that there might be a chance that we could build a wealth management firm on modern technology rails the right way. And that was very counterintuitive, because almost all wealth management firms are created with the lift and shift of clients and like protecting the revenue, and that makes it really challenging to build net new software. But when you start from scratch without and give yourself the space to create something that without that ultimately is for clients, but without like the demands of running a business alongside of it. I think that opened up a different opportunity that for us that other people didn't have. And so as we split duties, figured out like how we were going to tackle this problem together. It's very obvious he was the more technical side of it. So he generally, in the early days at least, handled product engineering, design, and I got all the rest. And over time, I think that's shifted a little bit, but having a lot of trust in each other to do a really great job on our respective domains had just allowed us to move a whole lot faster than we otherwise might have. And I think that carries through to this day. When you think about the culture that we've developed, one of the central tenets that we have is like communication is really important. We were born in the pandemic. We were born remote, and that means that being candid, being forthright, and it is that much more important now, or with us, than it is for a firm that where you are just right next to each other all the time. You kind of like learn all the nuances of how you speak to each other. But the communication is core to all of that, and one aspect of our firm that we've kind of carried forward from the very beginning. We spend a lot of time talking about the cultural values that we hold dear. So that's communication, action, respect, and excellence. And if we really nail those, and everybody on the team, I think at this point it really intuits what we really mean by each one of those. It's easy to say these are important things to us, but they're reflected in pretty much everything we do, from performance reviews to the awards that we give to the team, to how we share with each other, like the really important things that we're doing for our clients, our advisor team. All of that is geared towards those core tenets. And there's some other special aspects of our culture that we brought over from the military, and maybe some from the startup community. But together, it's really helped us develop a cohesion, even when working remotely and across different offices.